Good morning, everybody. If you are a mom, you know what? I said good morning. It's 2 o'clock. Okay. I haven't had breakfast, but I kind of been snacking around trying to clean up my crazy house. Anyway, so if you are a mom looking for a little bit of hope with raising kids in this crazy, scary generation, I want to help with that. I just picked up my MOPS Hello Darling magazine. For the spring issue 2017, and I was actually cutting it up for another craft project for kids camp and youth camp. We're going to do some collage type stuff in our Wreck This Journal stuff. But I was reading this and it caught my attention, and before I cut it up, I wanted to read it and record it because it's really powerful. It's called Open Letter to My Kids. You Are the Generation by Mandy Ariado, who is the president of MOPS International currently. She says, Dear Joseph, Ellie, and Charlotte, last week a radio host asked me in an interview to make a political statement about the state of the world and how difficult it is to raise kids in this current cultural climate. My answer disappointed her. She was hoping for doom and gloom mixed with some religious jargon about how these are the signs of the end of things. Instead, I told her that raising kids in this world feels hopeful. Hopeful. And I absolutely mean it. Please don't let well-meaning adults catastrophize the events of the world right now. Yes, terrible things are happening, but the truth is terrible things are always happening. And quite honestly, they always will until God comes and makes all things right. One thing I want to tell you is when you see heartbreaking things happening in the world, there are always good things happening right in the midst of horror. I learned this from Mr. Fred Rogers, who made Daniel Tiger everything he is today. Mr. Rogers once said that he was little and felt scared by the news. His mom always reminded him to look for the helpers. You can always find them. Just like last summer when we got off a plane only to be greeted by every TV in the airport looping video about the Pulse nightclub shooting in Florida. Remember how we pointed out the brave people who are risking their lives to drag their wounded friends out of the building? Or the strangers who drove their pickup trucks to transport the wounded to the hospital? Or the brave policemen who stormed into the building to save as many people as possible? In every situation where terror exists, there are always helpers who show up and remind us that good is more powerful than evil. Oh my goodness, thank you, Lord. Hope takes some noticing. It isn't something we can wait around for. It takes work to train our eyes and thoughts to look for it. So continue to look for the helpers and be the helpers, because that is participating in bringing God's kingdom come. The second thing I want to tell you is that I have complete confidence in you. Again, she's talking to her kids. You are a generation that is woke. I know you are thinking I am super cool for knowing that woke is. You're welcome for that. But seriously, your generation is aware. When I was growing up, I had no clue about politics, what was happening in the Middle East, or why I needed to care about justice and liberty for all. You, on the other hand, ask good questions and make room for diversity. You are advocates by nature and growing up in a time when the images you see on TV don't make you afraid. They cause you to act. You are interested in changing the future, not just critiquing it. And that is why I am hopeful. I am sorry that my generation has been modeling criticism over action and taking their frustrations out on people online they have never met, instead of feeding the hungry people who live within a few miles of them, or inviting people over for dinner who voted differently than they did. I am convinced the power of your generation will be your heart for action and an awareness of the power of your words. There's a movement bubbling up among you and your friends that goes beyond cynicism and celebrates a new way of living. Yours will be a generation that stops complaining about culture and the church and starts becoming the kind of culture and church we are all dreaming of. It is a contagious revolution with remarkable potential. This is why raising children in this world is both thrilling and hopeful. So my precious offspring, thank you for showing us a better way, for being silly and reminding us to play. Because what we need right now is a lot less doom and gloom radio interviews and a lot more playing. I am so grateful to be your mom. All my love always, M. So I hope that gives you a little bit of a different perspective, that there is a lot of hope. And I've heard so many times, I don't know if I want to have a baby. I don't know if I want to grow my family because this world is such an awful place. Well, if you focus on all of that, yeah. But I've just recently been thinking about how I cannot protect my kids forever. And that sounds like such a mom thing to say. But when your toddlers are growing up and becoming more independent, you see the different stages that they go through, and then you realize they are becoming an adult right now. Like, they are working toward that. And what can I do to keep them from being molested? Or what can I do to keep their ears from awful, awful words that are being flung all over the internet? It's just scary to me, but I think it comes down to surrender, just surrendering to the Lord. And I think Mandy had a lot of important stuff to say, that this generation is not necessarily doomed, not any more than mine was, than my mom's was, because there are bad and good happening together all the way around the world together, black and white, dark and light, beautiful and ugly things right next to each other. And I think that that's the core of the theme that MOPS had, being filled with wonder and hope and kindness, being starry-eyed. So I just wanted to share that, and I hope that encourages you. Have a blessed day.